Hello there, welcome to Coaching with Tally. We are talking today about just why is it that vulnerability is so freaking powerful. I woke up with, that place between sleep and wake where you have like thoughts that you're not creating, they just kind of come to you but you're awake enough to remember them. So I woke up with the thought this morning, I really want to teach my boys the power of being vulnerable, like how that actually is something that makes you incredibly strong, that being vulnerability is strength, not weakness. And I've had multiple really cool experiences this week of seeing men in their vulnerability and just how incredibly strong that actually is, and how it's not the message of our culture, and how most men don't actually believe that to be true. Anyway, so I was just thinking about the masculine and our culture and vulnerability. It had me thinking about that. And then I took an assessment online that one of the guys in my mastermind sent over. So I was reading through the results from that. And one of the things on the spectrum that he was talking about was this place of, as a leader, there's this one side that is want to look good, and then this other side that is this developing in a really meaningful way, and how it's really like you can't have both of those things in play at the same time. You can't actually create meaningful development of who you are while trying to look good all the time and have this mask and have this thing that you wear out in front. Let me see, I pulled it up actually so I can read that to you. So we usually cannot look good while developing in a meaningful way. Our greatest personal development usually occurs when we stumble, fail, and make mistakes, not looking good and polished. So my name is Tally. I am a life and personal development coach, and I do this work specifically with leaders, getting them aligned to who they most truly are, living in this authentic way, connected to what matters to them, and living a life of impact while having a life that is centered in joy. And so I'm always in this work myself, because I believe you can't actually give to other people the work that you're not doing yourself. So anyway, it was a really cool assessment that I did. So that had me thinking about it again, because to me that touches in on, even though they're not using the word vulnerability, it's vulnerable to be authentic. It's you risk judgment, or you risk rejection when you are authentic, when you're vulnerable, like that is vulnerable. And then, so there's all these experiences today around this. And so I was like, I think this would be a good thing to talk about. So I woke up thinking about it, took this assessment and read that quote. And I was like, I love that. I want to keep that front of mind. So I wrote it down and put it on this wall that I have where my vision board is, and my vision declarations, and the photos of everyone in my mastermind and my clients who I'm praying for regularly, and just like speaking and declaring blessing over. And then I have this section that is just quotes that I want to regularly just read through and ground myself in. So I added that to my wall. So I'll read it one more time. We usually cannot look good while developing in a meaningful way. Our greatest personal development usually occurs when we stumble, fail, and make mistakes, not while looking polished and professional. So that place of I just want to keep that front of mind, like make mistakes and be messy, and like don't feel the need to be all polished and perfectionist. And then I had a call with one of the men in my mastermind group that I lead, and we got onto this topic somehow. I forget what he said. I think he said he just finished a Brené Brown book. I don't know which one, but she has so much about vulnerability. If you've never read a Brené Brown book, I so recommend it. Just incredible, incredible work. She's a researcher who does a lot of research, and she's an author and a public speaker, and she talks a lot about the power of shame and the power of vulnerability. Really, really good stuff. So we were talking, and I was just like, I just feel really like called to push you out of your comfort zone into a place of like, how can you get even more stretchy and vulnerable with the group, because I mean, there's just been so much trust and stuff built already, but man, I know there are like so many more levels like that we can get to. And I'm always trying to create context of vulnerability. And so I just said, like, what would you think about getting on our Facebook group and doing a live sometime today, sharing something really vulnerably? And what do you think about like being a catalyst for the group to encourage other people to? So he got on and did a post while we were on the phone. He's like, oh, it's so hard, but it's like, I know it's good. I know this is what I need and want, and I appreciate the push. And so he posted and just said, I just challenge everybody to do a live video, that stretches you into vulnerability more, and you can expect mine by this afternoon. So I was like, mad respect, and everybody's, jumping on and starting to do their videos. And then I was on a call with a fellow colleague, and she does relationship coaching, and we got into just talking about just the power of creating communities that are safe spaces for people to be able to come and be who they are, like not put together and not perfect, but like who they are, to be able to take the masks off. And she's been doing some work, and so we were brainstorming about some things, and like this subject came up again. And so I was like, okay, we're gonna set aside what I was gonna talk about and just talk about vulnerability and just what a beautiful gift it is. And then I just want to encourage us, like, this is for me too, but how can we be living in a place where we are more authentically ourselves? What are some ways that you can lean into being more who you are, even in the face of possible rejection or possible judgment? Or like, how can you be more you in the context that you find yourself? Where are some places that you feel most safe to lean in and be more vulnerable, to be more authentic, to bring who you are in a more real way? So that's my gift. That's my encouragement to you today, is to find small things that you can do where you just communicate what you really think in a context, or ask for something that you really need or want in a relationship, or express something that you feel like lets someone in more, to know you more, to know like something that you've been through or how you're feeling. Like, just drop it a little bit deeper than what you usually do. So yeah, that's my gift to you. Step into more vulnerability, because you will step into being more alive. And then I was reading something else. I don't even remember where. There's so many overlapping thoughts today. And it was just talking about when you numb out certain emotions. Oh, and it goes back to a conversation with somebody I had on Friday. We were talking about, he works in first responder kind of stuff. And he was just talking about like, man, people in my line of work so need what it is that you do and what you bring. And we were talking about how powerful it is to be able to process through in an authentic way real stress, because he's like so many people in my line of work have issues with drinking or like numbing out kinds of behaviors. And then I was reading again today and connecting those, just thinking about how when we numb out by whatever it is, whatever our coping mechanisms are for numbing out. Sometimes it's shopping, sometimes it could even be positive things, like physical activity, running or something. And a lot of times it's medicating, kind of like alcohol or drugs or something like that. But whatever the things you use that are kind of like your medication of choice that numb out those challenging feelings, numb out those hard things, it also cuts you off from the ability to feel the good things, to be able to really access joy and deeper connection with people and peace, and like you just kind of go numb across the board. And so I really think that leaning into this place of authenticity and vulnerability in contexts that are safe enough to risk a little bit more and to lean into that and try, I think really brings so much healing in our ability to access all the things that we really most truly want in life. So what is something that you can do today? I encourage you to write it down, either here, type it out and share it. That would be vulnerable. Or write it down like in a journal on a piece of paper, something that you're going to commit to in terms of stepping into more vulnerability. It could be in a relationship, it could be in your family, it could be the front, whatever it is. Like, how can you risk a little bit more authenticity and vulnerability today? So that's my encouragement to you. Lots of love. Have a beautiful Sunday, and I will be back here tomorrow at 1 o'clock.